Hey everyone, welcome back to the best US Mint news channel on YouTube. I'm Triple S. Today's date is the 13th of May, 2025. In this video, we're going to be talking about the circulation strikes over there at the United States Mint, namely the 2025 Lincoln cent. But before any of that, if you're new here, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to reach a bazillion subs. It's actually a really big number. I looked it up. It's ginormous. Also, we're always live, never edited, and always unscripted. I never know what I'm going to say. Now over here to moneymetals.com. Looks like gold's up 19.75 to 32.6805. Silver up 53 cents to 33.33. Platinum up 7.50 to 1,625. And palladium is now down 80 cents to 979.60. And Dr. Copper's up 2 pennies to 4.65 per pound. Over here, you're looking at it in stock, American Silver Eagle, whose premium is $6.49 for a quantity 1 through 39. They have you paying $39.82. And the buyback, the sell to them price is $34.14, and that is clearly under $1 because spot is at $33.33. Next up, United States Mint's bullion sales, and there is a new tail to tell. As you can see, we have some numbers for May, but they're real light. And there's a typo over here. Now this is the 1 ounce silver eagle, and it says over here 100,000 sold, and then 10,000 sold. And we don't know which one to go with, but it seems like a typo because they don't add up. Now, this is what's really interesting. The 1/4 ounce and the 1/2 ounce gold eagles. There were none sold in February, none sold in April. And are we going to see the same thing for May? And if that's the case, these are probably going to be some of the least minted American gold eagles in the bullion format right there. So that's kind of an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Next up, coinnews.net. There's an article written by Mike Unser dated April 18, 2025, titled U.S. Mint produces 670 million coins for circulation in March. 1.88 billion in the first quarter, those first 3 months. And I got to show you, we're going to be looking at year-to-date numbers, and that refers to the period from the beginning of 2025 calendar year, January 1st, up until the current date, which is May 13th, 2025. So let's keep on keeping on. So Mike is saying that the United States Mint produced just over 1.88 billion coins for circulation in the first 3 months of the year, reflecting an uptick from last year's first quarter pace, which marked the slowest start since 2010. Absolutely incredible how few coins they minted, particularly, yes, indeed, that Jefferson nickel from Philadelphia and Denver. And it is interesting to see that the Philadelphia strike, even though there's just a few million more, doesn't see the love that that Denver strike gets. But maybe that'll change. Now it says here, let me keep on keeping on. The U.S. Mint struck 670.42 million coins for circulation in March, including cents, nickels, dimes, quarters, and $half, reflecting a 15.3% increase from February and just over twice the amount produced in March of 2024. And that was up 101.5%. So the month of March 2025 was the second ranked out of the last 13 months. So they ramped up production big, right? So that's interesting because if we look at this month's, well, I'm going to tell you, I have found the numbers here, circulating coin production, and it's updated monthly. These are the numbers for April. So as I said at the beginning of this one is for March, and we have the numbers for April. Let's keep on keeping on. Despite costing the Mint 3.69 cents, almost 4 cents, to produce and distribute each penny, I'm sure it's more expensive now, and the nickel as well, right? The Federal Reserve consistently orders more of them than any other denomination. Now remember that for today's video, right? More of those pennies than any other denomination, consistently. Not all the time, but, generally speaking, right? And it says here, in March, the Mint struck 328 million Lincoln cents, accounting for 48.9% of all circulating quality coins produced for the month. Yeah, that's pretty consistent, really is, It's incredible. However, look at this. Month-over-month comparison for coins commonly used by Americans. March production saw, and we will see even a lower one when we talk about April, 7.1% fewer Lincoln cents, 1% more Jefferson nickels, 16.3% fewer Roosevelt dimes, and look at this, bam, 371.5 more American Mint quarters. That's remarkable, folks. Let's keep on keeping on. So here's the U.S. Mint circulating coin production in March of 2025. Denver produced 168 million, Philadelphia 160 million, for a total of 328 million total struck of those Lincoln cents. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, folks. We're going to compare and contrast here. Now we have year to date. Okay, this is important. All right. Year-to-date 2025 circulating coin production by denomination. All right, we've got Denver and Philadelphia. Here's the denomination we're going to be looking at. It's a 1 cent, and 413 million from Denver for the year, and 510 million from Philadelphia for the year. Well, let's go over to the new numbers from the United States Mint, and we're looking at a billion over here for those Lincoln cents. And actually, that billion, 60 million, 600,000. Well, how much more is it than the 920 million that they already produced here? Or I'm sorry, 923 million they already produced. Well, it's only a difference between 137 million. And is that the most ordered coin? No, 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 no. It's actually the third place, because number one is the dime. Look at this, 338 million for the year. And then we're going to look at 525 and a half. 525, look at that, $500 million struck now. That's an increase of 187 million. The quarter, look at that, $500 million, 650,000 there. The quarter here, you're looking at 374, and that was an increase of almost 60 million there. The 50-cent piece, it didn't change, 13.8 there, 13.8 here. What did change by about 1 million was the Native American dollar, and I'm not sure where those are going, but they did increase those. And then we'll talk about the Jefferson nickel, and that was not the last place, because that would be the 50-cent piece, second to last, and then coming in at third, you're looking at that Jefferson nickel only increased at 95 million. So really, the thing to look at here is the production numbers for the Lincoln cent. Let's go back to this table here, okay, for the Lincoln cent. And I told you that it was 137 million that were struck additionally for the month of April, right? Because we did March. Well, if that's the case, look at this. And it was a really small increase, 137 million. Well, if you look at Denver or Philadelphia strikes for March, just March of 2025, well, that's way more than 137 million, okay? And that's, I mean, come on, that's half, less than half of what the total is for the month of March. And I think what that means, folks, is that the United States Mint and the President Donald Trump are finally on the same page, and that we're not going to be seeing any more Lincoln cents. And if we do, it'll be coins that are already struck, or they are going to be just ramping down these. And really, how many more planchets do they have? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be ordering any more. I mean, they have been ordered to stop producing the Lincoln cent. And because we've only seen 137 million struck for the month of April, does that mean that we are not going to see any further strikes? I mean, there it is. It's ramping down big. I mean, look at some of the verbiage they've used here in this article. All right. Despite costing this more of them than any other denomination, accounting for almost half of all circulating quality coins produced for the month, right? That's a big deal, folks. A really, really big deal. Let's keep on keeping on. Let's go over to eBay, and I want to show you the 2025 Lincoln cent in the mint state that's been sold highest and recently. So this is May 3rd. Somebody took best offer, $400, and that is an NGC grade. But look at this. That's the mint state 67 red for $404. And that's on 57 bids. And typically, I don't ever consider an auction a comp on a coin. Look at this, $249 for a mint state 66 pickup sticks for two of them, a Philadelphia and Denver strike. And I got to tell you, folks, let me head over here to PCGS real quick. Like, I got to show you something. All right, we are at PCGS. I have here 2025 Philadelphia, 2025 Denver. All right, so 247 examples have been submitted for Philadelphia, 49 for Denver. What? Look at those Denver numbers. I mean, we're looking at 25, 66, 23 and a 65, and then 1 and a 64. Clearly, Denver is not producing as many quality coins as they used to, or at least maybe somebody is not submitting the quality Denver coins, because check this out. All right, look at this. More quality coins in Philadelphia than Denver. I mean, is this something that we're seeing consistently? Because it used to be that Denver would produce the high quality coins, but we're not seeing that as much anymore. Definitely Denver has some issues with the, I don't want to say quality, but there's definitely a condition rarity thing going on here, I think, with those Denver strikes. And then the ones that are grading the highest are out of Philadelphia, and they are a mint state 67, folks. That's incredible. And that is one right there for $404. And would we typically see a mint state 67 red Lincoln cent? $404 if it weren't for the president saying we're going to get rid of you? Not even close, folks. I imagine this would be a $25 coin. But here we are, right? 141, 130. Let's check out the original bank wrap rolls and see how much those are going for. Actually, let me do newly listed, see what's what. newly listed says the most recent, wow, they're still expensive. Look at that 2025 P&D, and that's a mid-state 66 first release for $100, $5 shipping, $100, $59 for a mid-state 66 red. And what's interesting is, did the folks over at PCGS start adding that Lincoln, I guess, President Lincoln's image there with the flag just recently because of what we're seeing? This is all interesting. Look at that for 1997. Interesting. Now let's keep on keeping on. These are the rolls, I believe. Yep, here we go. Yes. Now these are some of my favorites. I do this every year. I buy just a few rolls of each denomination from each mint and just put them off to the side. Sometimes I'll get boxes, but typically I just get the rolls. And these actually are reasonably priced, I would think. 10 rolls, that's $10 a roll, $10 shipping, $10 a roll, free shipping, that's not so bad. $10 a roll, that's not so bad. So it looks like prices have come down just a bit. Look at this, 10 bank rolls, that's not so bad. $14, because remember what we used to see. Look at this. I'm going to go back to highest first. Yeah, you remember. You remember. Oh boy, look at that. Look at that, full boxes, $1,300. Man. Somebody was a visionary. Look at that, 850, 950, 750. And typically, look, remember during the pandemic, during 2020 pandemic year, and the coins were really hard to get during the circulation shortage? Well, they were probably about $100 and $125 a box for Lincoln cents back then. These are like 7 times that. And this was back in March when we first got the word that, oh my gosh, the Lincoln cent's a goner, and then obviously we had to wait until the dust settles. And now the dust seems to be settling and these prices are coming down precipitously, but not for the graded coins. Can you believe the prices we saw? Unreal. Now let's go to the boxes that you can get from your local bank. All right, I have here ended recently 2025 Lincoln cent box, and these are, looks like Philadelphia rolls, $168.49. There's one roll, $12. There's a seal box, $169, $168, $11.99, $169. Yeah, these seem much more reasonable prices than we saw in March. Yeah, isn't that something? Now let's keep on keeping. I think I want to show you one last thing. Yeah, here we go. This is PCGS. And this is actually the prices realized that, well, not the realized prices. This is just what they're saying. And does it seem arbitrary? Yes. All right. Because check it out. 2025 Shield cent from Philadelphia. They're saying in a mid-state 66. Well, they're saying it's $55. What? I don't think so. You saw mid-state 66 from PCGS just right over here just a minute ago. Look at that. $59 right there. That's over. And there's some more expensive ones as well. Look at that. 66, 50. Maybe they're right on the money. Wow, I've never seen that before. Or is it not? Let's find out. Yowza. Look at that. Isn't that something? 66, 249. Split those in half. What do you got? 125 each? Man, maybe they're right on the money. There's a proof. Not really going to look at that one. There we go. 66 red, 2025 D. And that is $179, $179. And yeah, well, isn't that interesting? Remember, we talked about which one's condition rarity? Yeah, right there, that Denver. So is that one for Denver priced right? Maybe. Isn't that interesting? I just owned myself. That's kind of fun. Now, with that said, let's go over to the +1 action. This is about Glory. Remember Glory? I never met her either. All right, those who act in a just, upright manner do what is right. No, they need no monuments. Their acts remain their shrines. I just blubbered that one up. Let me start over. Those who act in a just, upright manner, doing what is right, need no monuments. Their acts remain their shrines. Yeah, I guess that sounds pretty awesome. Now let's bounce over here to 39's fine. There's a guy whose acts remain his shrine, and I got to share it with you here in a second. This is 99.9 KOI Coin News Radio. This is Jim Ladd. He worked at a radio station in Los Angeles called KNAC, and they eventually went over to, I think, KLOS, and then KMAT. But anyway, Jim Ladd, he was the last free-form disc jockey really out there. And what free-form really means is that he controlled it. He had carte blanche. He had artists, what do I call that? He could do whatever he wants. He could play any music he wanted. There was no format. There was no playlist. He could play any song. We could go back on the B-sides have songs you've never even heard before. Artist discretion is a powerful thing, and he used that, and that's Jim Ladd. And so this song is Rush, and it's a spirit of radio, and it's good stuff. That's Jim Ladd. That guy's a legend, and I think he perished in 2023. Definitely, he had an influence in my life. I met him one time, had him sign the book, and definitely an awesome guy. Definitely. All right, with that said, I want to thank y'all for coming. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do like what you hear and see, sub the channel. It's free. Also, if you want to know a little bit more about Jim Ladd, I will leave a little Wikipedia link for you in the description of this video. It's kind of cool. The guy's amazing. And the more you learn, right, the more you know. Lifelong learners. All right, folks, y'all have a great day. Stacker out.